everyone, welcome back. The last video I said we actually started to talk about texture paste and how we could make it for ourselves, and I made some up and I said I was going to let it dry and then come back and show you what had happened. I have no patience, so I've come back already, maybe like 5 minutes later, and I wanted to just show you these are still wet, but I don't think it matters because I think you can probably see what the difference is between them. Okay, so the first pot that I'd made, which I spoke about, was a bit too runny. Now, I'm hoping you can see this. There's two examples of that same texture paste. And you can see how flat it's gone. There's no sort of definition here at all. And I think that paste was just too thin. Okay, so the second one here. This was the one that we actually ended up with, where I made it look like a cookie dough, and then I added back some more paint, and you can see it is better, but I think I messed it up. I mean, it's definitely more defined. Well, it certainly is to my eyes looking here, but probably through the camera it isn't. But I guess the point really to make is this is the other one. So this one, after I'd switched off the camera, I went back and put back a little bit more talcum powder. When I say a little bit more, I'm probably saying about 2 good puffs of the bottle. And this is far, far better. If you can compare that to the first one, you've got a lot more definition there. Okay, so that probably the right thing to do. And I've got my fingers all over it when it's still wet. It's not great, but there you go. The one on the right here, on this side, is the purchased modelling paste. And I think I'm actually happy with the one that I made in comparison to that, to be honest. There's definitely a little bit more definition, but I'm very happy with this one on the left. So if we look back at, if you did see that video before, if I hadn't added back that paint, I think we would have been somewhere near where we wanted to be. Okay, so that's that. The other thing I wanted to talk about today was doing some stencils, because I've got the paste already made. Obviously, if you're going to keep this and not use it straight away, you need to put it into something like a jar with a lid. I sometimes keep it in little pots like this. I can come back and use it, or use it up straight away because it will obviously harden. Okay, so tools. I like to use my stencils. I've got heaps of stencils. This is just a small selection of them. And as I said in the last video, I tend to come back and just do like a batch of them because I've got my paste already made up, if you like. So, okay, so the other thing, I just wanted to talk about tools. I've just got a selection of some of the tools that you perhaps could use. You might have these sort of metal ones. I originally started out using those, but I found that actually I prefer to use something with a little bit of flex in it, which is more this plastic style. So although there's nothing really wrong with those, I think if you're doing this a lot, you probably are more likely to get on with something with a bit of flex in it. Having said that, which of these you use, kind of up to you, depending on what you're doing. If you're just slapping it on the page, you might try this one, which is a bit like a bricklaying sort of tool. If you're going across a stencil, then you might want something a bit like this knife here. I tend to like this one here, a bit of both worlds really. Okay, so I should have torn that one. Just gone into my scrap box to get some bits of card, and I love the bubbles. The bubbles are what I love, so I'm going to make up some here. I just wanted to quickly just do one for you. So I'm using my homemade paste. Now you could plop it around, or just slap it on like I've done here. The thing I'm trying to sort of show, and this is something I guess everyone's got their own ways of doing things, but you don't want to be stabbing your tool in on the stencil. This one with a very small pattern, it would be hard to do anyway probably, but you're trying to just sort of lay the texture paste across without digging into it. I've put a little bit too much on there, but you can always wipe it off. You don't want to overwork it either. Now it could be you want to go for the sort of totally flat top, or you might want it to be a bit uneven. So some of the, for example, on this one, some of the dots are a bit higher than the others, and that's totally up to you. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever you want to do. I'm not working all the way down to bottom because obviously the paper's quite small, but there you go. So that's the first one. Okay, so just do one other. Now the other thing I'm going to say is don't leave these sitting around. If you like your stencils, particularly if you buy this brand of stencil, they are quite expensive. You don't really want to ruin them. So I'm just going to step off to the side and have yourself a tray of water in which you can just throw those stencils and you can clean them all up afterwards. Don't leave them to dry because you'll have more problems than you know what to do with. Love this one. This has got to be one of my favourites. So again, and you can see what I wanted to do really with this video is to show you, you know, your homemade texture paste in action and the fact that it does work. You don't need to buy expensive paste to use. This will work fine for most projects. As we go through, I'm going to start showing how we can sort of alter this, how we can use it in different ways. But I just want to do this quick video. It's always a quick video, have you noticed? I always ramble on after I said it's going to be quick. There, okay. And that's, so it's not perfect everywhere because where we've lifted it off. This one is, you can see actually, I mean, I'm always the first to criticize what I've done. Throw that in the pot. Is this one, I don't think it's defined very well, which would suggest, and I'm going to tell you what happened there. This pot here is actually a mixture of the one we made, okay, plus the bit of powder put back in to stiffen it. And then I very stupidly, because I wanted to wash the pot up, threw the first pot I made, which was the runny one, into here and mixed it all in. So goodness knows what this mixture is. It's okay. It's okay for what I'm trying to do here. But, you know, for this example, but I would say this again, you know, I've actually ruined it, haven't I? I've made it a bit too runny. So I could throw a bit more powder into there if I wanted to. But I'm not too worried because I've always got places I can use the scraps. And the thing to remember with this kind of thing is nothing's really a mistake, okay? If you get something wrong, or you think it might be wrong, it's a learning experience. And what I have found is this, it's usually a place that you can use your worst mess ups. You know, there's always something. There's a tag, there's I don't know, a bit of scrap card that you can throw things onto. It's just, it doesn't matter. Okay, you might use it, you might not, but at the end of the day, it's a process of learning, a process of experimenting. And I think that was what I wanted to do with this particular playlist that I was putting together. Being a lab environment, you don't get things right on the first go. You may never get it right at all. And you can see I'm working this quite well. This is a very fine pattern. So I don't think it's going to stand up too well with my texture paste, to be honest, but we'll give it a go. Now you could dry this off with I say a heat gun, not the traditional heat gun used for embossing, but one of the ones that just blows warm air. So you could sort of hurry that along if you like, but be careful. It can crack the texture paste if you dry it too quick. It's often better to just leave it. Okay, so we're going with this one next. I'm going to make you sit through all of these because I just basically like to chat, but I think you probably get the idea, to be honest. You're slapping it on. You're not digging your knife into it. I mean, I could start trying to do this. You know, it's not going to, it might work, it might not, but I'd suggest that you don't. This one I'm just going to let, do you know what? Because this is like, it's actually called Crocodile, but I kind of, it looks a bit like a sort of path, stone, like a cobbled path to me. I'm going for it here. I'm just going to leave it a bit uneven. You know, I don't want it totally flat. Okay, let's just see what that one does. Oh yeah, so we've got, might not be able to see it on the camera, but it's quite interesting. I have a horrible feeling that's going to dry a lot flatter. Okay, we'll leave it there because we've done quite a few of those. We'll come back and look at them, and we will decorate some of these. Just going to show you so you can get your heat gun. Just be careful with it though, because, and this is, as I say, not the embossing heat gun, which is like a paint stripper. It's more like a hairdryer, I suppose. Let me just dry that off a little bit. But I would say best way is to just let it dry. And depending on where you are in the world, it may dry pretty quickly actually. Okay, that's it for this video. I have rambled on for long enough, and because we're over 10 minutes, and I'm going to come back next time, and in the texture tab, and we're going to have a look at how we can colour these bits of textured paper, and other videos I'm going to look at actually using the textured paste on different media. It's not just simple white card. We'll try some other things. Okay, see you soon. Bye.